Welcome. Do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Exclusive.
Now, you're listening to Independent TV 7. Yes, as it is the headline which says a court appeal sitting in Abuja. On Monday, turned down the federal government request. Well, a court of appeal sitting in Abuja on Monday turned down the federal government's request, the court of appeal, and concerning Nnamdi Kanu's case, a government request for adjournment in an application seeking to stay the execution of the judgment that set free the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. Now, the court, which later resumed its noon session on the matter, had asked the federal government of Nigeria in the morning to move its application or forget it. And that's what it is. And the FG's lawyer, Mr. David Casway, also complained now that he was served with a counter affidavit by Kanu's lawyer, Chief Mike Ezekume. Chief Mike Ezekume is the senior advocate of Nigeria, and also it may continue from where it stopped and keep continuing, and that is what it is, adjournment. Well, in the area of the Punch reports that at the appellate court on Monday, the federal government was asking the court to stay the execution of the judgment of October 13th, which voided the rendition of Kano from Kenya to Nigeria on account of breach of local and international laws. And that's what it is, and we'll come back. Well, I don't understand the narrative of the government of Nigeria. I don't know what they are portraying. I believe what is good for the goose is good for the gander, and that is what it is. And if the dispensation of Muhammadu Buhari does not or do not do the needful, things will deteriorate to a level whereby Nigeria can't be collated any longer. If Kanu's case is giving Nigeria a headache, they should deport him back to United Kingdom where he came from, or they should do the needful. Anything they feel is best for them to do, they should do it. And also the Pan-Igbo Socio-Political Pressure Group, the Southeast Revival Group, surge as urged President Muhammadu Buhari's administration not to continue with what it described as a victimization and exclusion of policy of the federal government against Nnamdi Kanu and the Igbos. That's what it is. Yeah. So if policies cannot be followed, and why are they, a government? Because if truly policy, is being followed, system, is being followed, and every other thing that is needful. That's why I said the government should do the needful, and as it is, if the Igbos or Pan-Igbo group has described the case of Nnamdi Kanu and the federal government of Nigeria victimization and exclusion policy of the federal government against Igbo in Nigeria, attributing the insecurity in the region to hopelessness on the part of young people in the zone. And as it is, in a statement signed by its president and national coordinator, Chief Willie Ezugu, I would say they said delay in releasing the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra of felony, or proscribe them as being terrorists. That is not what the narrative should go. And the people of Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not an action taken in the national interest. According to Ezugu, before the Court of Appeal ruling discharging Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration got to the legal advice of the United Nations, which also demanded for the unconditional release of the indigenous people of Biafra, a public that based on its violent extradition by the Nigerian government from Kenya to face terrorism trial in Nigeria. And he also added, like the Court of Appeal, the United Nations UN Human Rights Council Working Group on arbitrary detention indicted both Nigeria and Kenya governments for the arrest and extraordinary rendition, torture, and continued detention of Kanu without a due process. Why wouldn't they follow due process? That's the problem. We recall that the United Nations had asked Nigerian government for the immediate release of KANU unconditionally and pay him adequate compensation for the arbitrary violation of his fundamental human rights, and also to guide him with diligence. And the United Nations also recommended that government officials responsible for the torture method to the indigenous people of Biafra leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That is what the torture is, and they be investigated and punished accordingly if definitely he has violated any rules. And since that wasn't the narration, yeah, investigation should be made. The United Nations further directed Nigeria to report back within 6 months of the transmission of its opinions on Kanu's matter, steps taken to comply with all the recommendations thereof. And also, the United Nations had referred the case of Kanu's torture to Special Rapporteur on torture and other cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment for further consideration. The 16-page report dated July 20, 2022 was adopted on April 4 by the Working Group on Arbitrary Detention and its 93rd session. It was held between March 30 to April 8, 2022, and reportedly communicated its recommendations to the federal government of Nigeria on or about. Ezugu said the refusal of the federal government to first obey the order of the Court of Appeal on KANU is already being seen as kidnapping of a citizen. Okay. Then, according to him, this will definitely worsen the security situation in Southeast as a similar extrajudicial action which the federal government has taken. And also the action of the federal government led to the murder of Boko Haram Islamic sector leader Yusuf Muhammad by agents of the state, which has been widely acknowledged to be the immediate cause of the extraordinary escalation of violence in the northeast, and which Nigeria is yet to recover from. His words, and in his words, since the arrest and detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the southeast has become a theater of blood and gruesome killings by state and non-state actors in Igbo land, unprecedented. And the Igbos have been raising alarm on marginalization of the southeast. As it is, both Hausas, Igbos, and Yorubas have been marginalized under this present dispensation. But turning the zone into a butcher zone by the actions and inactions of the federal government of Nigeria in recent time is the worst since the Civil War. We therefore urge President Muhammadu Buhari to call the Attorney General to order, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami to order, as it is globally acknowledged that injustice brew anarchy is every society. Wow. If the federal government can order the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUs, to first call off their strike in obedience to the order of the Industrial Court before ASU could be allowed to appeal the judgment, what is the justification for not obeying orders? They are not obeying orders of the Court of Appeal on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Now, the extraordinary rendition of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was considered also it's an injustice and a violation of his fundamental human rights by both the United Nations and the Court of Appeal. We therefore urge the Nigerian government to make hay while the sun shines and free Nnamdi Kanu in accordance with the express order of the Court of Appeal, as this will also mitigate perceptions of bias, exclusion, and injustice against the Southeast region over the years. Wow. This is pulling through, this is coming through, and this is so very interesting that the case of Nnamdi Kanu has projected, either eastward, downward, westernward, and it's gone far, and it's just what it is. If someone has done really wrong, it should be let me say discharged and acquitted, or there should be verdict. The verdict could be negative or positive. But as it is, I don't really know. I can't really speak for what they don't know, but they already should know that the constitution which guides us guides the United States. Well, this one I'm going to draw the curtain. I'd like you to share your views in the comment section, and don't forget to share this news so that others can be aware. Thanks for listening, and God bless you.